Hello, birds. So, hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday. It is the 13th of September, 2023. That's what it is. That's right. And this is yet another fantastic episode of Marketing Insights. If you've ever wondered to yourself, would I watch a low production value, highly insightful video from a guy who has more than 40 years of experience marketing for literally thousands of companies across the world? Everything from Fortune 500s to small SMBs, even startups and one-man shops. Well, then you probably want to hit ye old like you or subscribe you or whatever it is people do on the interwebs these days. And yes, I do know what it is they do. The point is, if you want valuable insights, this is a channel you can get them on. And what is the first valuable insight of today for you, dear marketer, or person interested in marketing for some other reason? Well, I'll tell you, I'm not going to beat around the bush, and I'll remind you while I tell you this of just how powerful information can be. First marketing insight of the day for you is go live or go upload is not just a euphemism. It's not just a turn of phrase. It's not just a phrased coin or coined expression, colloquialism, etc. Go live or go upload means everything in a digital world where people choose to either stream live or to produce something and then upload it. And neither of those requires a particular level of production value, of course, but the impact of the difference is not insignificant as a marketer. So that information about whether or not you should go live or go upload tells you a lot about the channel and its content. It tells you whether or not the live content is fully scripted, or if it's produced, or if it's a bit of a hybrid. The upload is usually, by definition, more produced, but not always. Sometimes people upload because they can't live stream for whatever technical reasons, and they still may not put much or any production value effort into their videos. They may just have no other way to post. It may be the case that they are posting in the one way that they are able to post on a technical level. YouTube does not allow just anybody to post. They block certain contents. They block certain users from posting live. They have a whole terms of use, terms of service agreement. Age depends, or it depends on age. It depends sometimes on location. It depends on content. Right? There's a number of different issues that can block somebody from going live. But for the overwhelming majority of users in 2023, you can post live. You can go live. Or you can upload. And while this may seem very obvious to anybody who has made a video or posted a video or done a live stream on YouTube, the fact is most people on YouTube don't actually make videos. Well, they certainly don't upload them to YouTube. They watch YouTube, right? Hundreds of millions, if not billions, of people are watching YouTube every year. Right? It's the most popular visual content channel or video content channel that there's ever existed, right? More popular than any TV channel by far. And that's because it's global, right? And because it has an enormous amount of content being uploaded every second, every hour, every day. It's just a non-stop, massive content machine. But the overwhelming majority of users, they don't post. Right? They want to maybe keep their privacy or who knows what. They're not into sharing videos for some reason, or creating videos to share. But they like consuming videos because videos are a very popular format for content. Why? Because it's visual and it's audio, usually together, and it's easy, usually, if the person making the video does a good job, or if they do a terrible job, the consumer is usually able to process a video in their brain, even if they don't learn as much from it than they might from reading. They're still able to produce some kind of output from the brain that tells them what they received from that input. And meaning they just watch it. It could just be eye candy. They could just be wasting time. It doesn't have to actually give them a single thought, but it can. And the single thought that it might not even give them is just, this is just mindless eye candy, right? Or just, these are just bad videos, and I'm just wasting my time watching, right? And there's a lot of people who do that. They'll literally just watch videos just to pass the time, not to learn anything, not to see something exciting or a particular event. Just randomly put on something, and they just want their brain to kind of go on off mode. As a marketer, that's very useful. And I know I've been talking now for whatever it is, 7-8 minutes. As a marketer, that's incredibly useful information to know that there is a whole massive market full of people who are just looking for the off mode switch. They don't actually care if the content is particularly good. They just care that it's there. And what does that mean? That means there are a lot of markets and a lot of niches where you can apply the so-called flood the zone method. And unfortunately, we see it more and more in public discourse, where it's definitely not a positive thing, in my opinion, but it is a popular method because it gets the message out, even if it's filled with things that aren't true. It gets people arguing, which means their brainwidth is taken up by the content, which means they have a dialogue, even if it's completely moronic. They're wasting time thinking about the content that some lie lobber tossed out there, and that's what happens in the public discourse with flooding the zone. If you flood the zone in other areas, maybe you're just making videos about squishmallows. Maybe you're making videos about, hiking across bridges. Maybe you're making videos about diving. Whatever it is, flooding the zone with content in those scenarios is usually pretty neutral. Obviously it's possible you could be injecting lies or mistruths or whatever into any kind of content, but something as bland as, I don't know, making little, tiny houses out of matchsticks or out of, popsicle sticks or whatever, is not exactly a topic where you would need to have great debates over, right? So if you're using neutral content, or just showing happy puppies running around, right, or kittens running around, then you don't need to have vitriolic kind of content about that. It doesn't need to make people upset. It's just going to trigger their happy emotions for the most part. And, you know, the, the usefulness of knowing that if you make that kind of content, you can just flood the zone with any kind of content related to it. It can make a big difference in your presence, in your branding, in your reach. Right? So, for example, if you're going to make a short video, and it might be highly produced, etc., that's great. But don't just make one highly produced short video. Make one highly produced short video, and then about anywhere from 10 to 100, I'm not joking, other short videos that may be less highly produced, but that fill up tons of areas around that narrative. You know, it could be about the video, about behind the scenes about the video, behind the scenes about the video, behind the scenes about the video, making of the behind the scenes about the video, etc. You know, one aspect of the video, another aspect of the video, top 10 things that you left out of the video, you know, etc. Like things that you didn't leave out of the leaving out of the cutting room floor, things that you left out of the cutting room floor, right, etc. There's no shortage of areas of content that you can fill in your video locker. And that is exactly how you flood the zone. You just fill the airtime with more and more information. Now, you might say, but Yasha, that isn't producing high quality content. How is that going to convert into better engagement and better CTR and better CTAs and better performance of the overall goal? Well, because first of all, on a very basic level, if you are getting a wider reach, if you are increasing the number of impressions and views that you get, it will, at some point, if your net is big enough, have an impact by the power of the network, of your network reach. You will see an impact on things like likes, comments, and shares, which are metrics in YouTube that sort of matter a little bit. Of course, the things that matter are conversion rates, right? Click-throughs, purchases, subscriptions to offline things, whatever it is. But you get there, in some sense, by growing your base of traffic. Now, can you spend time doing much better by not focusing on quantity and focusing more on quality? Yes, absolutely. And obviously, I've been spending several recent videos talking to you about that. But I think it's important to understand, even if you don't ever use it, the concept of things like flooding the zone to get a bigger reach, because it can be very useful for a particular niche. And if you have a particular product or service that does not require only high quality content, then you can certainly use flooding the zone as a method. And in addition to that, beyond your actual brand, right? If you work with any SEO people, any social media marketers, whatever it might be, right? They might have produced for you social pages, profiles, supporting blogs, what have you. On those pages and blogs and profiles, on their separate YouTube accounts or whatever they've set up for you, right, they can use in supporting sites methods like flooding the zone, even if you can't on your brand. Because if it's not a brand consistent thing, well, then it's perfect for off-brand, for somebody who's not your brand to do that. And as long as you keep it transparent and follow the rules that are set about how to do that properly, that can work very well. Because if somebody does not represent your brand officially, you're just a fan, they just support your content or like your products or services, well, that's an opportunity for you to let them enunciate, essentially, a position about your brand or your product or your service that is descriptive in a way that you couldn't necessarily be. So keep that in mind and don't discount the power of having other people communicate messaging about you. After all, these days, your brand is not just what you say it is, and in fact, it is increasingly less what you say it is, or decreasingly what you say it is. Your brand, ultimately, is what other people say about it that it is. That's the truth about brands. Brands are no longer the thing you say, which is take off their shoes, because normally they don't wear shoes in a Japanese home. And if they were no shoes, because they don't want to spread around the dirt from below their shoes. Now the interesting thing about that is, well, what if a person has foot fungus? Wouldn't you rather they wear shoes? Or what if they have some other condition on their foot that you may not want spread around the house? Wouldn't you rather have a little bit of generic dirt from the ground that you can sweep and clean or wash away, rather than having some potentially, dangerous bacteria or who knows what on your floor? Interesting thoughts, right? That said, go live or go upload. Remember that. It's not just a colloquialism, not just an expression. It's a real thing. It means you have to consider what type of content you want to make. But Yasha, why do you keep giving us a black screen? You want me on a black screen? What is that? What is that? What is that? What is this?